analyze that batch gather in summary file. When we released MMRA, let's see if I can move this, and let's go back over in here. The MMRA version 5.1 that was released about 3 years ago, we installed a new functionality based upon a recommendation by a gentleman from Anadarko, who had identified that the Anadarko at that time were using, had worksheets where they could go in and modify inputs associated with porosity or pay or whatever particular input was required, and run. They wanted the ability to transfer those workbook values over to MMRA, and the batch MMRA process, which is available in version 5.1 and version 5.2, allows you to do that. What the Toolbox functionality allows you to do is there is in the batch function in MMRA is the ability, if you've built a series of 10, 20, 50, 100 MMRAs, you can go in and using the gather batch function, you can gather information from all of those MMRAs from the summary worksheet using this gather MMRA summary data button. And it will open up each of the individual MMRAs, capture information from the summary worksheet, and put that into a workbook that you can then start to do analysis of. And what we have built into Toolbox is the ability to go in and capture and import that information. I'll come back to that in a moment. So you can import a batch file that has been built in MMRA. You can either elect to replace all the information that is on the MMRA gather summary worksheet, or append new prospects to that. When you take a look at the file, you'll see that each of the rows is an individual prospect, with each of the columns are different types of information that has been gathered from the summary worksheet in MMRA. And there's over I think that there's nearly 500 different columns of numeric data that can be captured. So for example, scroll over far to the right, and here is area information that has been gathered from these MMRAs. There's additional information associated with, if I scroll further to the right, here's average net pay detail, porosity, saturation. All of the information that is gathered on the MMRA summary worksheet is available. Let's go back to the prospect cross plots. And so you can start to plot that data up on the cross plots chart. The cross plots and these the rankings charts, these existed in our portfolio tool, and we've just transferred them over into to Toolbox so that you can to facilitate the analysis associated with batch. This dialog box is run each time that you open up the cross-plots or the rankings sheets, and it's just providing you a warning. So here, for example, I've got mixed units where a couple of the prospects are in hectares while the remainder are in acres. You need to go in and clean up your data set and convert the prospects that are reported in hectares into acres so that you can do a proper analysis associated with those. So once you've done that data cleanup, you have the ability to go in and plot up the data sets in an XY and bubble chart. So you can select from different inputs that here I've selected the hydrocarbon equivalent mean, but you can see that there are many other different inputs that are available to be selected from. So you can do that for the x-axis, for the y-axis, and the bubble size that is indicated in here. So for example, if you wanted this to look at, maybe we can find net pay, and let's do that on net pay, then you could go in and take a look at in the bubble size, how is net pay contributing to the different prospects. You also have the ability to investigate any of the markers that are plotted on here. There's a show marker details button that allows you, for example, to go in and take a look at the cursor is on this particular prospect. It's named 31 prospect, and there's a textual information that is associated in here, and you can go in and take a look at the productive areas associated with it, and so you have access to all of the detail, and you can review information associated with any of the markers that are displayed on here. You also have the ability to go in and highlight and color code different the markers. So for example, you can color code this for business units. So the international is shown in yellow, the domestic in light blue, and there's a second or a third business unit that is available down here as well. The information that is available in the drop downs, you can filter that so that you can make it into a much a more legible number of drop-down items by picking and choosing to include chance, area, pay, raw volume, resources, or the yield parameters. So you can shorten the list. So I could turn off in the X, I could turn off the chance, and I could turn off the area and the pay thickness, and only show the geologic resources. And if I go back to that particular drop down, if I can get there in just a moment, it's updating and moving slow. Well, the drop down is going to allow you to, it would be a smaller input, a smaller number of items that are listed in that. So here we go, and now it's a much more manageable list to select from than what I had previously. You can see that the MMRA that has the new functionality of the unconventional resource assessment, that information associated with those unconventional prospects is also can be gathered in the MMRA summary input. There's a prospect rankings, ordinal rankings chart that is also available. Once again, it gives you a warning if there are mixed units, but here you could once again, from any of the values that are plotted up, here it's sorted this in descending from on hydrocarbon equivalent from the largest to the smallest of the prospects that are within there, and you have the ability to go in and color code these by different. Here is going to be the business units, and you can even go in and color code by chance of success. So if you want to see what is the chance of success associated with a particular prospect, and you can investigate it via the show marker details button.